Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and force. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agrees.
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
Christian Combs, the eldest son of Sean Diddy Combs, is reportedly cooperating behind the scenes with federal prosecutors in New York, just days before his father's explosive trial begins on serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Two law enforcement insiders have confirmed that court documents reviewed on Friday include a sealed memo outlining expected testimony from a family member. And yes, defense attorneys believe that mystery witness is none other than 27-year-old rapper King Combs, also known as Christian Combs. Prosecutors reportedly believe Christian possesses first-hand knowledge about private jets, exclusive guest lists, and secret money transfers tied to Diddy's notorious parties in the Hamptons and Miami, events that are now at the center of a high-stakes federal investigation. These gatherings, which took place between 2015 and 2022, are believed to align with the alleged sex trafficking ring detailed in last year's explosive indictment. Close family testimony is extremely rare and incredibly powerful, especially in conspiracy cases like this, said former Assistant U.S. Attorney Mark Diaz. Christian's cooperation could completely shift the momentum of the case. Diddy recently rejected a plea deal that would have capped his sentence at 12 years, signaling that his legal team is preparing for a fierce courtroom battle. While the confidential memo filed on Tuesday doesn't confirm whether Christian has secured a formal immunity deal, insiders say things moved quickly following Homeland Security raids on Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami mansions in March, where agents seized phones, laptops, and detailed financial records.
I literally took one sip of my beverage and the whole side of my face felt like I had a stroke.
Isn't that, to my mind, that's one of the bigger hurdles in selecting a jury this coming week, is that there is, at least anecdotally, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity stakes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux or something.
Defense teams who've reviewed the evidence say at least 14 of the seized devices contain father-son conversations that prosecutors now want authenticated through live testimony. Convicted on all counts, Diddy could face more than 20 years in federal prison. Meanwhile, Christian, who has not been charged, may be attempting to shield himself from legal fallout by quietly cooperating with authorities. Any family member who witnessed shady dealings or was involved in suspicious money transfers was immediately on the radar once those devices were seized, said Yusef Roberts, a former DEA agent now working as a defense consultant in high-profile sex trafficking cases. Even more shocking, messages retrieved from an encrypted app allegedly show Christian arranging luxury charter flights for high-profile guests headed to exclusive all-white parties in the Hamptons and wild late-night yacht parties in Biscayne Bay. Prosecutors claim these flights, reportedly funded by shell companies tied to Bad Boy Entertainment, are crucial to proving that Diddy orchestrated a coordinated operation, using his staff to transport individuals across state lines for illegal purposes. Diddy's legal team is pushing back aggressively, insisting that the private jet simply carried celebrities to routine industry gatherings, not criminal operations. In a filing submitted Thursday, lead defense attorney Aaron Sussman blasted prosecutors for weaponizing family ties, arguing that pressuring a son to testify against his father sets a disturbing precedent in celebrity trials. Sussman also urged Judge R.N. Subramanian to review the sealed memo before opening arguments begin. However, the judge ruled he would wait until after Christian is questioned during jury selection. Christian's legal team has declined to comment, citing legal constraints. However, a source close to the 27-year-old rapper confirmed he met with federal prosecutors twice in early April.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So,
So you said you know he's innocent.
1,000%.
Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what? Maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
And when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Christian Combs reportedly spoke with federal prosecutors alongside his own legal team. And interestingly, that timing lines up exactly with when Diddy's inner circle began voicing concerns about being completely shut out of the loop. According to insiders, that's when the pressure began to mount, not just on Diddy, but on the entire celebrity ecosystem that once revolved around his empire. Just last week, 50 Cent stirred the pot online, claiming he has court documents naming high-profile figures who allegedly profited from deals connected to Diddy's ventures. Prosecutors, wasting no time, have already subpoenaed records tied to celebrity appearances, endorsement payments, and how the money was split behind closed doors. At the moment, no other family members are officially cooperating, but sources confirm that investigators have reached out to both Justin Combs and Quincy Brown, requesting voluntary interviews. Reactions across the black entertainment industry are mixed. Some veteran insiders sympathize with Christian, caught between loyalty to his father and the weight of federal scrutiny. Others argue he has a moral obligation to come forward. The culture can't scream for the truth and then shame the first family member who speaks up, said veteran music journalist Danielle Harper, who's been covering Bad Boy since its early days. There's no denying Diddy's legendary influence. From the mid-1990s through the pandemic era, his summer blowouts were the stuff of legend. A-list names like Mary J. Blige, Usher, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, actors, athletes, and even Silicon Valley elites were regularly drawn into his orbit. But now, prosecutors claim those parties weren't just lavish gatherings. They were recruitment hubs for an alleged sex trafficking ring. Diddy's legal team calls that theory pure fiction, a sensationalized narrative meant to smear a music mogul. Still, legal experts say when a family member testifies, the game changes. Money shows the how, but relatives show the why, said Grace Harris, a Loyola law professor who specializes in celebrity crime cases. Jurors pay extra attention when someone close to the accused takes the stand. The sealed memo reportedly outlines 6 major topics Christian is prepared to testify about: passenger lists from private jets, payment instructions tied to Diddy's companies, live message threads from party nights, security team protocols, post-party cash distributions, and internal responses once the media began asking questions. Diddy's legal team is hitting back hard, insisting Christian wasn't involved in any wrongdoing and had no authority over key decisions. But as the case unfolds, it's clear this battle is exposing more than criminal allegations. It's revealing a generational rift within the Combs family itself.
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
What happens is if people go into a trial believing the firepower on the prosecution is so strong, I mean, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 95, that it's so strong, but it goes down to an 88. That helps the defense because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
Earlier this year, Christian Combs made it clear on social media. He's focused on music and fashion, not finances. But friends say the March raids rattled him, especially after footage surfaced of armed agents swarming Diddy's Los Angeles mansion, a place Christian often used to record music. As for the plea deal Diddy recently rejected, it would have required him to plead guilty to 1 count of racketeering and 1 tied to sex trafficking, surrender all weapons seized in March, and forfeit a staggering $20 million. Diddy's legal team shot it down immediately. "No settlement that paints our client as a conspirator is acceptable," said lead attorney Aaron Sussman outside the courthouse. Now, all eyes are on Monday's jury selection, expected to be a full-blown media circus, with courtroom seats being assigned by lottery. Legal experts say prosecutors are preparing to launch their case with force, describing what they claim is a layered criminal operation that disguised serious wrongdoing behind the facade of business, specifically Diddy's spirits brand and nightlife empire. The defense, however, argues this entire case is a distortion, twisting consensual adult relationships into criminal accusations. They maintain the government is leaning on witnesses driven more by the promise of multi-million-dollar civil payouts than by justice. If the judge allows Christian Combs to testify, the trial could take a dramatic turn. Prosecutors have hinted they may call him to the stand early, even before other major witnesses, whose identities are still being withheld. Leading with a close relative is a bold move, said former U.S. Attorney Mark Diaz. It locks in the story early and sets the tone for the entire trial. The ripple effects are already being felt across the industry. Several major liquor distributors have reportedly paused orders for De Leon tequila, waiting to see how the trial unfolds. Meanwhile, streaming numbers for the Bad Boy Records catalog are surging, as fans revisit the music that defined an era. Culturally, the moment is resonating deeply. Activists and community leaders are highlighting the emotional weight of a son potentially testifying against his father in one of the highest-profile celebrity cases in recent memory.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
Do you still think that because there is this public perception that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case, no.
Families often carry the hidden scars of abuse, said Monique Reed, head of the Black Women's Justice Collective. If this helps survivors be heard, then it's bigger than just one courtroom. As of now, Christian Combs has not submitted a formal witness affidavit, and Diddy's defense team still reserves the right to object to any lines of questioning that could risk self-incrimination for him. Court records show a major status hearing is set for 8 a.m. on Monday, just 30 minutes before jury selection begins. Sean Diddy Combs remains behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, denied bail after Judge R.N. Subramanian ruled in March that the explosive new allegations, combined with the firearms seized during the raids, were grounds to hold him in custody. His legal team is now filing a renewed bail request, this time citing urgent family health issues. But prosecutors remain firm. They argue Diddy's vast international connections and wealth make him a flight risk too dangerous to ignore. Meanwhile, Christian continues to maintain a public profile, promoting his upcoming EP on social media, though all tour dates have been paused. A representative for CYN Music Group said the label is respecting the legal process and will not be making additional statements at this time. Now, with Monday fast approaching, the entire industry and the public are watching closely.
Back up a little bit, please.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes, as his lawyers argue the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea.
First, the court must decide if Christian Combs' cooperation deal can even be introduced as evidence. Then comes the tougher task, finding a jury that can remain unbiased amid one of the most high-profile celebrity trials in recent memory. And just days before it all begins, newly unsealed court documents dropped a bombshell. Sean Diddy Combs allegedly funneled over $74 million through a complex web of 17 shell companies between 2016 and 2023. Federal prosecutors say these suspicious transactions lie at the heart of the sex trafficking and racketeering case heading to trial Monday in Manhattan's U South District Court. According to ledgers filed late Friday, investigators tracked wire transfers flowing from key Bad Boy Entertainment accounts into LLCs registered in Delaware, Nevada, and even the British Virgin Islands. The money allegedly funded private Gulfstream jets, luxury rentals in the Hamptons, and high-end security, expenses repeatedly mentioned in earlier affidavits tied to Diddy's now notorious VIP-only events. He built a layered business model to deflect personal liability, said forensic accountant Lydia Marcato, who was brought in by federal authorities. She identified multiple five-figure withdrawals made just hours before invitation-only gatherings, some of which prosecutors now label as high-risk events. And here's where things escalate. Two invoices reportedly show Christian Combs signed off as an internal approver for yacht rentals and high-end catering. That directly links him to the financial trail now at the center of Thursday's sealed cooperation memo. But Diddy's lead attorney, Aaron Sussman, is pushing back. In a letter to Judge R.N. Subramanian, he argued the government is twisting standard hospitality expenses into what he called a fictional criminal blueprint. Then, another twist hit late in the week. Federal agents served a supplemental warrant at J.P. Morgan Chase on Wednesday, pulling financial records related to De Leon Tequila's marketing accounts. According to sources close to the probe, a flagged $900,000 transfer went from De Leon to a dormant media company controlled by one of Diddy's longtime advisors. The next day, that same money reportedly funded a private jet charter. Prosecutors claim the jet departed from Teterboro, New Jersey, carrying 8 unnamed passengers to Nassau, Bahamas, all part of the now infamous White Sands weekend, cited multiple times in the indictment. By Friday, the music industry and corporate sponsors were scrambling. Revolt TV issued a statement saying they have zero overlap with the shell companies in question and would fully cooperate if subpoenaed. Diageo, parent company of Ciroc and Kai Vodka, both of which severed ties with Diddy last year, said they've concluded their own internal audit and found no remaining financial links. Still, branding experts warn that if courtroom testimony reveals the gritty logistics behind Diddy's empire, it could permanently damage the trust that helped luxury liquor brands break into the urban market in the early 2000s.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York, ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urged the judge to remand him.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.